All set.
All right, so it's Wednesday, December 16th. The Recreation Commission, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Southborough Recreation Commission will be conducted via remote participation in the greatest extent possible. For specific information about the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the Town of Southborough website. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so by finding a recording of this one actually on the Southborough Town website. No in-person attendance or members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that they are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive recording of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. All right, so we'll call the meeting to order at 6:05. Okay, so on our agenda, we've got a whole bunch of meeting minutes that we need to approve. The vast majority of them are meeting minutes that say we attended the planning board but didn't actually call the meeting to order. But we published them all just to make sure and to cover our bases. So I think almost all but 2 of them might be meeting minutes, just say that. And then the other 2, one was our goal session and then one was another meeting we had in early October. So they're all in your inboxes if we want to take a couple minutes, if you want to look those over.
Yeah.
Are you talking to us, Kristen?
I'm just expecting kids to come running in at any time. Can we just quickly go through
I want the,
planning board meeting ones and just make the motions and approve them now? Or can we approve all of them in one vote?
Board of Selectmen does it all in one vote, so we can approve them all in one vote.
Okay, never mind, we'll do that.
Just what with the goals one, I know we said we were going to follow up with the selectmen to send them something. Have we done that yet? Or are we going to do that after this is approved?
We should discuss them tonight because there was some feedback. And
with master plan?
Yeah, and then I have the master plan right after this. And then I think we can send it to them based on that.
Okay.
Just let me know when you guys are ready to vote on those.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm fine.
I'm good too.
You're good? Are you good, Dave, to vote? Dave, you're on mute if you're trying to talk to us. All right. Then, so I'll make a motion to approve meeting minutes from October 19th and 27th, November 2nd, 10th, 16th, 17th, 30th, and December 14th.
I can second that.
So
Laval,
yep,
Laval, yes.
Dumont, yes.
Hanson, yes. And Dave, are you on? You're on mute still. I don't know if we can get you off mute because I can't see you either. And we lost him.
And we lost them.
Okay,
That's majority.
exactly. It's okay. Okay. 4. All right. So then we want to go into like the department updates around programming.
Sure. So, the big ones we'll talk about, programming wise specifically, really only 3 things. I guess I'll start with summer camp. Alex is really hauling on it. I give her a lot of credit. Our staff is pretty much all booked up for summer. A lot of last year's, we've gotten in touch and a response from every single person so far that we had hired on from this past summer, from our anticipated summer. So we have a pretty good sense of who's coming back. As of right now, we don't need to hire anybody. So staff wise, it's all going to depend on registrations and kind of what everything is going to look like. So that was really good. That's a huge chunk of work that's kind of taken off the plate, just because a good amount of those people were already put on payroll and did the paperwork. So that's going to cut down on that as well, if I recall correctly. We had the initial conversation with the schools. They actually initiated it, which was awesome, and they did give us permission to use Woodward again, with the expectation that, as of right now, the expectation would be that we would be allowed inside, if all goes the plan in the country and the world and the state. But we did let them know that, no matter what, even if we cannot get inside, we would still like to plan on using outside, use the fields, whether that's a full day or a half day, or, split into 2 sessions each day is to be determined. But no matter what, we're going to plan on being Woodward, and they said they were going to put that in the calendar, and that's no problem. So, so that was good to get the location out of the way, as it just gives us a better grounding of where we're going to be. Alex is working on the program aspect of it with Abby. She's going to come back as a director, and she's kind of working closely with her, anticipating what's going to be left to be done once Alex does go on leave, when she has her little one. So she's setting up that schedule, setting up those expectations, and then most likely Abby will be in the office with us, Denise and myself, really doing the chunk of camp. So camp's well underway, so it's kind of exciting, and we keep our fingers crossed that all goes well and we can have a much better summer. 2 new things that, one we've introduced, one we're going to announce at the end of the week. The first one, we partnered with the Council on Aging to do a referral service for shoveling for seniors. So what we're doing through our department is that we are collecting a volunteer list of students or adults, students looking to get volunteer hours or just maybe looking to make some cash, but also adults that have been looking to help the seniors, the senior center and the Council on Aging, with helping our seniors with snow removal. So we announced that last week, and we already got 10 people signed up on the volunteer list, to help with that. So that was handed over to the Council on Aging, because I'm sure they're going to get some calls starting tomorrow and the day after. So that was good.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I mean, this is all awesome. Just curious, if you can share, do you find it's like a lot of teenagers, adults?
It's an equal mix. I think the youngest I saw was 13 and the oldest I saw was in their 50s.
Oh,
So it's really it seems like just people who want to help. A lot of families. I mean, it's only 10 people right now, but still you can see they're in the same household. So it's good. I know we have at least one area of town that are looking into calling a few. so we'll see what happens, you know. Hopefully it helps, you know, even if it helps one senior, I'm good with it because it's free and, you know, it helps them. So all that information is online. It's on our website right on the front page, either to sign up as a volunteer or to receive that list. Both those links are right there on our main page for the public to access. So that's underway. So we're excited on that one. And then this weekend we're gonna announce. So we are, I might have mentioned it at a previous meeting, but we partnered with all of our regional towns around us. Let me get the list. So it is Southborough, Grafton, Hudson, Leominster, Shrewsbury, Sterling, Upton, and Westboro. And we've all partnered on an esports league, so a video game league for this winter. That's going to launch and start in January. We're going to open up registrations at the end of this week. 6-week tournament, $30. So, you know, low point of financial entry, which is great. 5 games for the kids to choose from. And they would compete with kids in town, but also, like I just mentioned, all the other kids in all those other surrounding towns. And on the other end of it, so we are the Central Massachusetts League with our region, and then we're going to be competing against Metro West, South Shore, North Shore, Cape and Islands, and I think Western Mass is in the process of getting themselves together with one. So it's mainly through Massachusetts Parks and Recreation Association. Metro West started it, and it kind of spidered out all around. So we thought we'd throw our hat in the ring. So we got all set up this week and onboarded. So we'll see what happens. I think it's something different. It's a trend right now. So we'll see if we can hop onto that. We made it live by accident on our site, and apparently that garnered a lot of attention. So we got people who are interested. Alex emailed me tonight saying she was getting a bunch of emails. So we're going to hold off for a little bit. It seems like we're going to make it live probably Friday. So this weekend, in hopes to garner some registrations. So we're excited on that one. Something totally different.
Is this the first time that it's been done, period, or are we just joining for the first time?
What do you mean? In what sense?
This video game league. Like, is this the first time the Massachusetts, you mentioned there was one organization, I think the Massachusetts Recreation Department or whatever, is leading the charge. Have they done it before and we're just joining?
Yeah, so they started Metro West, which is, you know, Medfield, Westboro, Lexington, all of them. They started a small league last season. So this past fall, they had small numbers, but it kind of sparked the thought with everybody else to get involved, because the advantage is, because we're with town, even if we get one kid who signs up, technically we're pooling all of our kids together. So, you know, we could have a handful of kids that from Southborough, but realistically Central could have 50 kids that are registered through it. So it's young. They're based out of Chicago. It's the attractive point of it is it's very hands-off in a way. You know, we collect registrations. We're the conduit for all the marketing and the information for all the families, and kind of explaining how everything is set up. And then the roster is turned over to the company, which is called GG Leagues. Again, they're based out of Chicago, but they're all around the country. And you know, they provide the referees in every game. We're doing FIFA. What are we doing here?
Yeah,
FIFA,
I was gonna ask what the games are.
Madden. Yeah, so Madden 21, FIFA, NBA 2K, Fortnite, and then Super Smash Brothers. So we got 5 options. It takes place during the week, and that was based off a couple other regions last season tried it on the weekends and got nothing. And then when they did it during the week, they got a ton of registrations apparently. So we're going to jump on that to see if that's the case. But there'll be an option Monday through Friday for kids to take advantage of, and then it is split into elementary and middle school, high school divisions. So we don't have, you know, young players playing with the seasoned pros or whatever the high schoolers consider themselves these days. So it'll be good. We got a lot of information up there for parents to we have a parent manual just explaining really what e-league gaming is and the trend and how it's popular, and you know, the statistics within it, the demographics of what you typically see, and again, how the refereeing and how the monitoring of the actual programs are going to work. So we're really comfortable with it. We spent a lot of time working with the company and asking a lot of questions. So again, we something new, and with everything locking down, being stuck inside with the winter, hopefully it's successful. So we'll see, but we're excited about that one.
Where do I see it on the, where is it on the site, Tim?
So it's not up yet.
Went up back.
I'll actually, here, I'll show you. Why not? Yeah.
Is there a limit, like as many kids as you can get?
As many kids as we can get, no limit, no minimum, no maximum.
Okay.
So, every game. What's that?
Said we'll be there.
Yeah, I was gonna say my son's on Fortnite every day anyway, so what the heck?
There you go.
Him and like a half dozen other kids.
Exactly. So yeah, so the barrier to entry is the kids need the actual systems and the games. We're obviously not providing that. We provide the link for the game ratings so parents can see what the game is rated, the information on what it is, just in case they have no idea what the kids are playing. And then, like I said, there's a whole
Is it like, how does it work? Should the kids like do they have like a team? Like, should 4 kids sign up together, or is it like, is there any sort of that?
Yeah, so what happens, the process, and it's all within, and they'll get this information once they register, but when they register, they'll receive a link to GG Leagues, which they would set up their account with them, and they would create their own team. So they'll make their own avatar name, gamer name, whatever they want. And they sign up as a team of 1, because technically this is all one-on-one throughout the whole entire, all the games. So once that's registered on their side, GG Leagues will match it up to the roster that we provide them. And then they will separate them out into the appropriate groups with the appropriate times that they registered for. And then again, that's when GG League takes over. They get in touch with the families, the contacts, to let them know this is your match this week, this is the time, this is how it's going to work. So
Okay.
so yeah, they register through us, and then there is an added step of going through them just to, like you said, create their single team name, just so they have their alias of, I'm sure the kids use already.
Yeah.
Throughout. So yeah, so just this is the parent manual I was talking about. So what it is, what is streaming, is it safe, all the games, which include the ones we'll be doing, demographics on girls and boys and alls, and who's playing more frequently. So as much information as we could, wanted to put it out there, just because this is kind of a non-traditional sport. So but yeah, so Friday I was just emailing back and forth with Alex, so we'll make that live Friday. So hopefully this weekend we can capture some registrations.
Very good.
So that's it on programming. So we just keep going.
Yeah, let's roll.
All right, let's roll. So we got our lights.
You're on mute, Jen.
Sorry. I was gonna ask.
Wah, 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 wah.
I know that's like the most said thing this year, huh? I was wondering how the ski signups were.
Say it again. The what?
The ski signups. I was wondering how that was going.
Ski.
I don't know what you're saying. Someone keeps interrupting every time you go to talk.
Yeah, we're getting really weird feedback tonight. Can you hear me okay now?
Yeah, but what signups are you talking about?
The ski
Oh,
program.
ski. Good. Wachusett have 40, which was high, which was great. We were surprised on that. That was a week and a half ago was the last time we checked. So that's almost up to the normal numbers of what we have, or near it. Not as much, but near it. Ski Ward, we don't have that access to see. We haven't had much contact with them. Not surprised. I think they're probably scrambling. But yeah, we have 40 kids at Wachusett, which was great. So we'll get a small kickback with that. And then when Alex went in to look, she did see, because they dropped their age, there was a lot more families that were signing up as a whole, and a lot younger kids that would typically go to Ward. So my guess is Wachusett probably stole some of the Ski Ward kids because of that. But yeah, seemed good. I know Ski Ward opened officially this week. I think Wachusett is open. If they're not, after tonight and tomorrow, they will be. So.
Awesome.
So with the project updates on both of them, finally 2 positives in a row. So Mooney and Neary was approved on Monday. And I'll just jump real quick. Fayetteville is also done. The basketball court's completely done. So
good.
yeah, it came out really good. I will say it came out really, really good. So big thanks to DPW for that, for getting that base done and helping facilitate that one. But when it was warm the other day, drove out there, there's a bunch of people playing already. So it came out really well. They got some cleanup work to do in the spring. If you walk towards the court, you'll see it's pretty raised up with the cement, just so they got level ground. And on the back end near the reservoir, there's a pretty substantial lip. So DPW will be going out in the spring and kind of building up a berm and making it, much more softer on the edges. But it's up. It looks great. All that equipment held up for 3 years in storage. Still look good. But we're happy with that. Everyone seemed really happy online too with that as well. So Mooney and Neary, those are done. I sent everybody the official signed conditions. Not that we need to go over them. It's more just as an FYI for everybody. Nothing that is of surprise. Everything that we talked about constantly the last couple of meetings is involved. We're now that it's signed by Don, it will be filed by the clerk. There'll be a 20-day appeal period for any reason if someone wants to appeal it. And that brings us to January 5th is then when we'll be in the clear. So it's our intention, it's my intention to obviously get the ball rolling as quick as possible. So there's 2 pieces to this. So with I think I sent these to you as well, the quotes from Musco. So we are able to purchase directly from Musco. We don't have to go out to bid when it comes to the equipment with the lights and the light poles. We are part of the Sourcewell Purchasing Collaborative in the state. So, and as Musco is as well. And when I was talking to Mike and talking to Musco, he was helping me big time through this all. It really makes sense because our entire plan is based on a Musco light. So very common, he's telling me. So he gave us official quotes, which I was very happy about. So for just based on the allocation of funds that we do have. So we can buy these directly, but we will have to go out to bid for the construction piece of it, for the labor piece of it. There are only certain companies that can bid on it because Musco only certifies certain companies to work on their product. So I have a pretty good idea of who we're probably going to see, which is fine, which is great. So, but the Mooney quote was 110 grand, 110.5, call it. That leaves about 110 grand left for construction. So that made me happy. I think that's a good number to have in our back pocket for that piece of the project. I know the original number that we gave the CPC was based on a quote from Musco that included the labor of what was anticipated, but also those were much different lights at the time. So I actually think the lights are less expensive now given the technology of everything. So I think we're going to be in really good shape there. And then the same thing goes for Neary with tennis. The lights were 60, call it 60,500, and that leaves just over 92,000 for the construction of that. So financially, I think we're in a good boat with that. I think that was everybody's concern, next concern going into this, but that made me feel good on this whole thing. So Traverse and Art are going to be putting together the bid documents based on the conditions and based on the fact that they don't need to include the purchasing of Musco. So Traverse, as part of their contract, as they did for the track and for DePetrie and all that, they're going to be putting together those documents, and then we will go through the appropriate steps for procurement wise. But it should be on the street by the end of January, and we should have bids open by the end of January. So we can schedule something out for early spring if all goes well in our favor. So we are we're not gonna sit around anymore. We're gonna get this done and hopefully, you know, get everything up for the kids in the spring. So
Have you heard from
that is
baseball?
that. Yeah, I heard it from them that night after it. So they're all very excited. Brian said he was very excited to put night hours on his permit applications. So I don't blame him. They seemed very excited, but also very eager to know what the next steps are to get things rolling. So, you know. And that was it on that. Anybody got questions on the lighting piece of it? Or
No.
comments or anything?
I don't think there's anything more that can possibly be said about these lights.
Cool.
We have a year to get it done, and I told Mark that we were just going to sit on it for a little while just to see what happens. That's
all right.
everything from my camp.
Awesome. So the next we had on the list was an update from you, Kristen, on the master plan committee meeting.
Yeah, I sent a couple documents. I'm not going to be able to share it because, believe it or not, we still haven't figured out this whole what
Can you
they've
do
done. Oh yeah, that would be great if you don't mind.
Yeah, just give me a couple minutes.
I would share to start with the minutes that I sent you that are draft that we're actually going to be reading tonight, or voting on, I'm sorry, tonight at the meeting directly following this one. I've got big points with my husband right now, let me tell you. So first, yeah, if we could just look at the minutes.
Yeah, I just got to bring them up. Just got to get them in my email.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, no, I'm having trouble bringing them up.
Oops.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Okay, great. If you scroll down to the second page, line 89 is where, like almost verbatim, they've got our discussion. So,
Jen, why don't you take minutes like this?
Because I don't get paid.
That's true.
So they were basically fine for most of what we had. Someone commented that the field maintenance and rotation should be part of our recreation standard charge versus a goal in the master plan. But you know, I think I kind of advocated to keep it, given our commitment. We don't have it. I agree it should just be in our standard procedures, but we don't have it. We need to come up with it, right? So I do see it as a strategic goal. It's something Southborough's never had before. So
doesn't the golf course sit with somewhere there? Where does the golf course sit within the framework of the town? Isn't there like a separate body?
yeah, I don't think we need to do anything regarding the golf course. They're going to be establishing a golf course committee. We can look at what we referenced in there, and I don't think anybody was suggesting that we put in anything related to that. I don't think we had anything in it related to that. So I think we're okay there. And if you move to line 95, or I guess line 93 through 97, you know, there was a little bit of question of having something like field rotation in there, but we discussed it. And I think Sam understood, having been through, you know, that process kind of with us, that it was important to call it out.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. This is, it's difficult to follow. Okay, so it jumped from golf to field.
Yeah.
It meant the field rotation is not related to golf.
No, yeah, I agree. It's a little.
I like our minutes better.
Good job, Jen.
So then they just go on to kind of then you're going to want to go to line 102. And the second document that I forwarded was the results of the survey, which we can look at. I think we do need to look at in a second, that were provided to me post our meeting, which is why I didn't have them last time, but Judith provided them for me, so I appreciated that. And they want a pool. Most of them pretty stood by that. So we have to remember.
Where do they want to put it?
When did the survey go out? Was this before COVID?
The survey is the summary of it. It says May 29th, 2020 survey results.
Huh.
It was just summarized on November 18th. So we'll look at those in a second, and then maybe we can revisit the whole pool thing. I mean, we have to remember that, you know, not everything in the recreational goals is necessarily falls under rec. However, I think
Yeah,
a pool
it will.
yeah, exactly. And so let's table that one, and then we'll look to the MPC survey results, because again, not, you know, we can go back to them, and I just said I would take it back to all of you. I'm just trying to find my spot. I lost it when I looked at that other thing. So again, so we talked about the pool. Now, if you go down to line 109, I mentioned that we wanted to be on the ADA committee. It was suggested that we could just attend the meetings, which I guess is a fair point. So as a commission, do we feel we need a chair on the committee, or do we just need to be attending the committee meetings? So again, let's table that as a discussion point once we get through these minutes. Again, the rest is just kind of reiterating what we covered in our call. There was discussion on the need for a theater, starting on line 113. And I think I expressed that we didn't have the demand for that. So I don't think there was as heavy of a feeling that we needed to put that in. So I think we don't need to revisit that one. And other than that, I think, you know, you see the line 117, they suggested that we could join the meeting at any point in time if we wanted to. So again, we'll revisit that. And Sam kind of just echoed what we said, that we need the view of the town's recreational assets and what will be needed for the long-term resources. And that, I think, just really plays into what we already said, and that's that we need a refreshed master facility study. So the two takeaways I have from there is that what we provided was good, but we need to revisit the pool, and we need to revisit if we think we truly want to see on the ADA committee. So now, if Tim, you could pull up the MPC survey report and go to page, there was a lot of recreation comments. There was 76. We got the most. So 76 comments on recreation, which made up 24%. The recreational facility, 21% were in favor of. Dog park, 10%, sports grounds, 8%, walking bike trails, 9%, community pool, 52%. So moving down to the section of, let me find it, page, find it for you. Accessibility and connectivity.
Surprised to see dog park so low.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't look at the baseline, but I suspect we didn't get a ton of responses. So if you go to slide 15, or sorry, page 15, that's where recreation comes in. I can figure out how to make this bigger on my own computer. So this was there was 76 comments total. So again, put that in perspective of the town population of 10,000. So the recreational facility, there you can see there are all the raw comments, which is pretty cool. So we've already got the recreational facility covered. The second comment mentions that we have the worst recreational facilities. The Northtown Beach kind of confuses me because I'm not sure where that would go, given that's.
Yeah, it's protected. We have no access to water.
But there's a vote for field turf soccer, and but at least our prisoners have nice new cells. I liked that. The third comment is just talking about the golf course, and it is what it is. There's not much to address there. Again, I don't think the third comment is really anything applicable to our goals. The fourth comment speaks to recreation. I mean, tell you what, there's 70 something comments. So I won't go through every single one of them, but most of them just backed up what we already have.
Yeah, and it seems like it's more of a mainly rec center, rec facility.
I mean, it is really, that's what people want.
Me too.
Town pool, tennis courts, a central ice skating rink was mentioned. Tim, are you going to do that this winter? In past years, they've frozen over a piece of Woodward property. They've frozen over the choke fields. I don't think they did it last year. I'm trying to remember.
I don't think they've done that for quite a few years. But
yeah, I know we have the stuff. We've been doing a lot of cleaning, and we found a brand new 50 by 100 tarp in the basement. So we still have it, but yeah, from my understanding, same with you, Jen, it's been quite some time since the last time they did it. Just because it's been so inconsistent with the weather, speaking of DPW.
That's true. And I just don't know. I kind of, the ice skating rink is kind of interesting because I'll admit, when St. Mark's opens it up, and that's very generous, but it's literally like an hour, right? During school vacations. So while I love it, I don't know where we would put it. So I don't know that we can put that in, nor do I assume if you don't want to run a pool, you want to run a ice skating rink.
Even worse, the skating rink. So no, but I mean that's where all this comes down to is space. Where's it going to go?
So again, I didn't see anything that stood out that we didn't kind of cover in our particular goals. Someone did bring up the skate park and dirt jumping bike trails. So I don't know if we have a desire to bring back a skate park. I mean, we certainly did get feedback when it was removed. So maybe as a long-term goal, a skate park isn't a bad one to add to it. It might be more feasible to find a piece of property that makes sense to put it in. What do you guys think?
Personally, I would love one. I mean, that's more of a pet project with me, just for my interest. But I think we'd have to do some more work with the community to get a sense of if this is something they actually want again. Because the biggest feedback I got when we took it out was, "Oh, I didn't even know we had one." So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there'd have to be some legwork to really get an understanding if it's going to be wanted again.
Yeah. I will say it's one of those sports that I think COVID's kind of pumping up a little bit. I know, I gotta make sure he's not here. My son's getting one from his uncle against my husband's wishes, but So, all right, maybe we park that. We don't add it for now, but it's something we should, to your point, at some point, feel
Yeah.
people out a little bit.
And I know before pandemic, we were also trying to run some skateboard rap classes, right, Tim?
Correct. Yeah, we had a pretty good class full. Yeah, we were
So-
doing them at the art center.
Yeah, so maybe we see how stuff like that goes before, you know. And I don't think that would have to necessarily be like master plan, huge investment, right? It could
Mhm.
like tuck into wherever we end up.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
So then just the dog park. I think we all know and agree, and well, everybody wants a dog park. The walking and biking trails, again, I feel like that's covered as well. For the sports fields and facilities, I think people just agree with us in terms of what we've been trying to do.
Mhm.
So they just want to see them fixed. Yeah, and use of the school gyms to allow for more adult leagues. And I just don't know that we have any more wiggle room there in terms of the use of school gyms, because I know, what it's like when normal basketball is in session. It's tough. So I don't think we don't have use of school gyms during the times we need it.
Yeah, but we have a very good partnership with Fay that allows us the use of that. I would love to have our own. I would love to have that ability to schedule over our own, but we do have the outlet with Fay and St. Mark's to be able to use their facilities.
Okay. So I don't think anything we need to add.
Yeah, but I mean, going off of that, if we had a rec center, then yes, we would like to put a gym in there and have our own.
Yeah.
Ability.
Town pool, if you go down to page 17, the town pool is definitely a hot topic. The splash pad, again, I feel like that's a little bit like the skate park. I don't know that we would put it in our goals, right? Our 10-year goals. Anyways, given all the feedback on the community pool, the thing is, like, what I get concerned about is if we put it in there, is there then an expectation that we have a plan to get there? And if the rec department's saying we can't support that and it's expensive, like, should it, I don't know, this is my first time doing this type of planning exercise. What do you guys think?
Talking about pool right now, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, is it something where, practically speaking, you would need space and parking, and I assume it's an outdoor pool, not an indoor pool. Is this something that we would potentially say should be coupled with another larger project in the town? Say, for example, if something was contemplated in the Neary area, that this should be something that we would want to have, thought through in that process. I mean, how would you think about something like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. I think it's all determined on what the anticipated use is going to be, I guess. I mean, you bring up a good point about indoor versus outdoor. You're talking about two majorly different projects. Like you said, space is the first thing on my mind, is where we're going to put it. How we're going to pay. I mean, obviously it would be a town meeting thing to pay for it. The upkeep of it is,
Maintenance would be huge.
the maintenance would be massive, indoor or outdoor. It would be huge. So no matter what, it would be a short-term and long-term significant, I think, financial investment on the town side. It's not something that I think we could, there's only so much we get creative and turn money on, turn profit on programs to try to,
I think for me,
fund some piece of it.
I think it's one thing to say we'd like a pool, but when it comes down to it and we'd have to start prioritizing land and space, it would not be at the top of my list, right? Like if we had
Right.
to choose between a pool and something else, like, you know, I think that's our biggest problem in town is we just don't have the space.
Yeah, and if we're going to dedicate enough space to build a pool, we might as well dedicate that space to build a community center of some sort and get a gym or get program rooms or
Yeah,
some
I
shared
agree.
space.
I totally agree. I think the way to position it back to the master plan committee is that this is a 5 to 10 year master plan. And the facility seems to be the need that meets, or the facility is the ask that meets the needs and asks of more people. And so if we're being realistic. I mean, even to get the money to do that and the land, we think that putting in the community pool, I feel like it almost devalues the realism of the 5 to 10 year plan.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a question of like, so what will this facility be? And like, if we get a huge plot of land from someone and all of a sudden can build it and you could tack a pool onto it, like I feel like that could be part of the conversation, but I wouldn't go after a pool by itself.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's
I
why
think there's more needs. Yeah.
And you'd have to actually add probably like an FTE, right? To some degree between DPW and yourselves to just keep the thing running, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I know it's somewhat apples to oranges, but like when I was in Brookline, we had the pool there, the aquatic center, full size, and then just a kid pool. And they, 3 full-timers plus a incredible amount of staff for lifeguards and maintenance. So, you're creating your own department, pretty much a sub-department.
Yeah.
It's a major undertaking.
Yeah. Because that's an argument. I mean, I don't want to say it's an argument against it, but it's an argument that's, I think, worth bringing up. Is you make the investment in the pool, but you're going to have to invest in 1 to 2 more staff members with benefits and everything like that. So the increase of the budget for that is going to go above and beyond. Granted, it's a 5 to 10 plan, but there's more to it than just putting the structure in.
It just took us how many years to get 2 lights? So
Yeah.
I agree, and I will push back on them and say, look, if we're really focused on what we think could be achievable in 5 to 10, and even with the facilities, we feel like that could be a stretch. To put in a pool on top of it, it's not real. And I don't want to hear all the naysayers on myselfrow.com saying, my God, look at recreation, how crazy they are. Would rather
They're already there. So.
Yeah. So okay, I'll push back on that one. And then the only other one that we need to discuss.
I would just to make sure I would push back with those points though.
Oh yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Of course. Yep. I've been taking notes. So I think it's just a matter of, hey guys, let's get the facility first. If somehow that works into it, great. But let's keep our eye on one big prize, not 2 that has a very long-term cost impact. Okay, and so the only other thing is whether or not we want to remove or strike seeking a seat on the ADA committee. And I kind of understand the logic. Like, do we really need to have a voting member, or just if we feel like we need to stay abreast, do we have to start attending the meetings?
Well, I guess I don't see why that would be in the master plan. Like, I don't think it belongs there. But I do think there is a discussion to be had about if we're involved with CPC, we're involved with other ones. Why not ADA, where we have so many facilities in town?
That's true. And where some decisions made could impact costs.
Right. Or if there's questions or concerns, like they're not, I don't feel like they're bringing it to us. They're going to everywhere else. So it's for like, if we were actually part of the committee, I think it would help with communications.
Okay.
But I don't think it has anything to do with the master plan. I think that's outside of it.
I mean, it's more of a goal, a rec goal.
Yep.
Okay. And so that's it. On the master plan, we have the meeting tonight. I'll bring back that feedback and, Tim, I think oh, did I CC you or did I just send it to you, Jen?
I know I saw it. Yeah.
What?
What your notes that you were sending to master plan?
Actually, yeah, never mind. Tim, what I'll do is after the meeting today, I will make any updates, which I assume would just be the removal of the ADA line, and then send it over to you. And you can consider however you want to bundle that up for the Board of Selectmen, because I know some of the things really are kind of like your goals, which are more immediate and short term, and then we have the more aspirational. So I'll just send you over the revised copy. I'll send it to everybody. Just don't reply to all. And with any comments from the meeting.
Okay.
That's all I got.
All right. We had on here an update about CPC. The only update from CPC is that our warrant article from last year will roll over on this year's warrant. So that is Colander Field. Yep.
And Jen, I know I was texting you last night because I was sitting in on the Board of Selectmen meeting to hear the EDC conversation. And
You stayed up for that?
I actually did, I was working, so I was like, I'll just listen.
It was a quick 4 hours.
Yeah, I listened to the whole darn thing.
So do you think virtual is having a positive or a negative effect here? Like if everyone was trapped in a room, would they want to get out sooner, or is it now that everyone's at home, they're like, let it go?
I was sitting at my computer anyway, so I was like, well, and I'm kind of glad I listened, actually. There was a couple interesting things I didn't know about, but anyways, they closed the warrant, and it just made me think, were we going to try to sneak in a line item for design costs for the turf field? I thought we had talked about that.
We talked about it. We talked about it, but we also said we wanted to hold off because we already had a big ticket with Colander on it.
Okay.
Right? If I recall correctly. We didn't want to seem greedy.
Yeah. I thought we also might have been wanting to look at CPC, but.
Okay. That's what I just wanted to ask. I mean, they'll end up opening it up again. We just got to watch the Board of Selectmen. But if that's the consensus, I think my only drawback is that then that means we can't even consider doing the study until a year from July at best. And then there's everything, the whole long process that Don and I learned about that, like I said, we couldn't even kick off for a year and a half now.
Yeah.
And
but we're talking only Choate, right?
Yeah.
So is it something we want to go down the revolving route with? I can't imagine it's one facility, so it's probably not going to be a substantial amount of money.
Yeah, what we need the professional sort of perspective, drone study, whatever, that says you can or you cannot fit X, Y, or Z in here. And then what would a concept look like, so that you could actually start to the next step, which is to start, what do people think? Like, because right now it's a nothing. It doesn't have anything to engender excitement.
Like, no donor is going to take a request seriously from us right now, without being able to answer that, yes, the drainage won't be an issue. Because I know that was a question, and yes, you can definitely fit in, an 11 by 11 too. So we really need that that solid
like
piece.
a schematic. Yeah,
something other
but
than one of us walking around with a ruler.
Yard tape. Do you agree? I mean, it doesn't seem, yes, it's a lot of work, but I mean, is it something you want to try to get crafty with, funding with friends and things of that nature, instead of trying to trying to abide by the timelines of the town to get ourselves shoved out.
So I'd like to go down that route. I guess my hesitation is only that given everything that's going on in sort of the, environment, is now the time to be sort of thinking about drawing, and then now meaning the next couple months, like, can we get back to normal? And then, is there either, whether it's the revolver or whether it's friends, or, is that something that we can do come vaccination, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, spring, summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's enough on the plate for sure right now. So wasn't by any means proposing that we try to pursue it, today, but as long as we have an alternative to having to wait till, spring annual town meeting 2022 to even ask for the money to do the design work, where even if it gets approved, we couldn't start till a year from July, because that's when the funds are released. If there's alternatives that we can explore, I'm all for that. And then we have the flexibility to start when we want. Not to mention, it may not get approved at town meeting, so who knows?
Yeah, there's a risk factor too. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, do you want me to start getting numbers?
No, I mean, I wouldn't, you've got tons on your plate right now.
It's just an email.
Yeah,
So,
okay. Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it'd be good to know because, sports are even more important than, I can't wait to get back onto the soccer fields. I think everybody's excited for that. So at the same time, it might be a good time to say, hey, now wouldn't it be convenient if we had turf? Because now that we can finally all play soccer safely, I mean, I know soccer is playing, but there might be some positive feedback at looking at a project like turf right now, in light of what we've all been going through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if we can weave it into the master plan.
Yeah, I think we have it. We do have it in the master plan.
Yeah, it's just a good thing to fall back on. So.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I had.
All right. So then we had the personnel board updates.
Yeah, so we talked about it, I think 2 meetings ago. I finally got in front of personnel to provide an update. I sent them all to you all. Provide an updated schedule of part-time pay rates for our part-time staff. This was based, I'm trying to find it in front of me, based on, well, the whole need for it was based on the fact, we're paying part-timers more than I make an hour, and more than Alex makes, and $40+ an hour. So we kind of wanted to reel that in, but we, in order to do that, we did the little salary survey that I sent out to everybody. Of course, I can't find it right now. To do comparable towns, you'll see that most of what we have are pretty comparable when it gets down to the lower level of it, the camp counselors, supervisors, things of that nature. And the things that really change are when it comes to program instructors and supervisors, and getting them more in line with what's being paid, kind of the trend in the state. There it is. Yeah, and then another piece of it too would be to get to kind of strike out positions that we don't use anymore. It's funny, we got rid of lifeguard, and here we are talking about a pool.
Yeah.
But so lifeguard 1, lifeguard 2, lifeguard 3. I'm sorry, camp counselor 1, 2, 3, lifeguards, things of that nature. Just kind of unnecessary positions that we haven't really been using. More to, and more streamlining it. And this schedule would also go in line with what Schedule C is, which is the town-wide part-timers. So currently, as we sit, we are operating on our own schedule separate from the town. This update would get us in line with the rest of the part-timers that are hired across the town of Southborough. So again, the updated schedule, all of our guys fall in from grades 1 to 4. We'd be able to get rid of grade 5, that $42 plus threshold for for part-timers, the agreement was that anybody who is currently making that, which we do have a bunch of rap teachers who are making that, would simply be grandfathered in, and they would make that until their employment is terminated with us. It's a handful, probably five or six teachers that are doing programs with us. So that's the proposed schedule. Dave, you can speak on this, but it seemed the personnel board seemed in favor.
I think that the thought is that they're going to approve your recommendations. They, I can't speak officially for them, but I think there's a positive sense on personnel.
Good, great. So what is, and what I sent to was the updated job descriptions, which I think
Right.
you've all seen prior.
You're scheduled for
go
the
along with everything.
first meeting in January, is that correct?
Yeah, the 13th, I believe it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I would need, if you're all in favor, if you don't have any questions, well, I guess, do you have any questions on any of them?
No.
Anything? No.
No.
So we would need a positive vote from the board to endorse the schedule as proposed, the Schedule F update, the job descriptions.
I make a motion to approve the proposed Schedule F updates and the updated job descriptions as provided by Tim.
I'll second.
Dumont, yes.
Well, yes.
Hanson, yes.
Yes.
Cool.
This is I can't vote on it later, so I'll vote yes now.
Great.
There you go. Yeah, so the goal is to get this on. So we're scheduled for January 13th. The personnel board will hopefully vote in favor, and then this will be placed within their updates when it comes to town meeting on the SAP for the town for their warrant article, and then that would take effect for the summer. So we would be hiring summer staff based on these rates, if approved, which would help just financially. It would just help us tremendously.
And the staff that's returning, are they aware of this?
This was, we had it in it. This was anticipated pending approval, whatever that date was at that point. So it's really no different, just because we're in the same boat again, waiting for approval. So they are aware. They have that scale of what could be expected.
Great.
Awesome. So then we have the field permits to review.
Oh yeah. I don't know if we want to go through line by line, but I guess, do we have a chance to go through them? And any questions, agreements, anything? I know I highlighted a bunch of questions on my end.
The only question that I had is the one when we last did this, like a million years ago. We spent a considerable amount of time on the refining the order of prioritization for use, because it was unclear, and we had we disagreed with some of the allocation of the space. In some cases, we found out that non-town resources were shunted for other resources because pieces of paper came in at different times. I saw in the FAQ the listing of prioritization, which aligns with the conversations that we had in the past, but I didn't see it in the actual policy. Is there sort of a distinction or decision that was made one way or the other, or how were you thinking about that?
Well, I guess my question is, where did you see? Oh, you know what? I was just about to ask a question. I just opened up to it. For some reason, I never registered to see that list of, because that was one of my questions I highlighted. If there was actually, I think it was on the. Okay, so the question I had was for the grass field, if there was because there's no listing of priority for a grass field rental. but I do see it here now with 9/11.
Yeah,
Municipal in season. I mean, do you want to make it across the board the same?
I think so. We'd spent all that time on the 9/11 one, so I think that the grass fields, we never really
We
got to.
didn't.
So,
We
Yeah.
didn't, because we started, I think, to be honest with you, we started looking at one call and we were like, oh, wow.
yeah,
There's a lot. And that might be when things got,
Dorian left. Yeah,
And that's, I mean, looking at it now, I mean, it makes perfect sense how it's listed.
I'd be fine with taking and
It's-
applying that to the grass fields as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I know that is on my end some point of contention with some of the teams when they're trying to get on it, but I never had anything to reference to, so that's good. I would, if speaking of that, I mean, I would like to add in language, I think, if it's agreeable, that if the field is, already booked, and I think this goes back, I think, Don, what you just said of when the paperwork comes in, but, if a field is already booked by a different group in season, so say, and I'm not saying this happened, but say youth soccer is trying to practice and you have lacrosse or field hockey, whatever, and they're all their seasons are going, everyone's using the field, and say the field hockey team is a private organization, but obviously Southborough Youth, and they want to get on the field that time that private organization is already booked. I've had confrontation where the youth groups in town are saying that they should get priority and these private groups should be kicked off from their times. I've never kneeled to that because I don't think that's fair. I think just realistically, just because everyone's within season and these things were already permitted out, and just because there needs to be a rescheduled date or something like that, I would be hesitant to say, you're right, I'm going to give these ones the boot, you can have it. So can I craft some language around that? Does that make sense what I just said?
Yeah.
I don't. We don't want to reschedule. I don't think. Yeah, I think what we're outlining is the initial placement. I mean, a reschedule. A reschedule. Now, it doesn't mean that they can't be neighborly or reach out or try to work out an arrangement, but I don't think we should impose, prioritization on rescheduling like that.
Okay.
no, the issue we previously ran into, and I think it was soccer, was that there was a deadline, for applications to get in, but despite there being a deadline, they were giving it out on a first come, first served basis. So it was like the early bird got the worm, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Where we said, no, as long as they get it in by the deadline, then you start scheduling based on the prioritization. If I remember correctly, Don, I think that was the issue, right?
That is exactly it.
Yeah.
We were taking a lot of. There was just like what are you guys doing over there?
Yeah.
Okay. And part of it, I don't know if you noticed, so the deadlines I bumped out a month. I mean, the deadlines that were there were 2 months prior to the start of the season, which was a significant amount of time. Many of the groups had no idea what their schedules were going to be, let alone what their rosters were going to be. So, realistically, if I had the whole stack of them, it would take me a day to schedule them all in. So I bumped those out. So like spring, it's due 1st of February instead of originally it was 1st of January for their March start. So hopefully that will help that situation as well when it comes to the prioritization, as I should have them all in.
Did we add in anywhere, I'm trying to look for it now, that if the field is closed as a result of the town's decision, we would refund money?
Yes. So we have that we would apply credit.
Okay.
Let's see, in the event it's canceled due to weather-related conditions, every effort will be made to reschedule the event at a later date of the affected group. Credits can be granted for custodial cancellations, weather cancellations, or facility closures issued by the Recreation Department. And that's something I added because that is something we didn't have.
Okay. But credits can
Right.
only be held and applied within the permit season. So I guess like, here's what I'm thinking, Callander Field.
Mhm.
Like, and I don't know how it works with soccer, you know, I'm not sure exactly, but we, like, I know you were, let's just say that Callander Field, we had to close because of the conditions. And there was nowhere else that you could put them. In that case, it almost feels like a refund versus credits would be more appropriate, especially if it's like an external organization that has other options of where to go. I'm just curious what people think.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I personally, I don't like the credit model. I think it gets confusing. You know, it's same with programs. When we apply credits, they end up being, you know, spread out forever. So, you know, I mean, that's a great point. If we cancel something because they literally cannot use it, you know, with soccer, they're lucky we got all the grass in the world pretty much, so they were able to reschedule. But if we had a group that was solely scheduled on Callander, it would be,
Yeah.
obviously a different situation. I mean, we could put something in of a, you know, refunds on case by case basis, or if you want to get more specific with it.
I think you could just add maybe just a line saying like refunds will be made at the discretion of the recreation director. And like, I think we'd be fine leaving it at that.
Yeah, because those scenarios are going to be unique, whatever it is, right?
Yep. That was like with COVID. When COVID hit, I'm not going to give them a credit.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So, you know, we refunded where refunds were appropriate. So
Exactly. Yep. Perfect.
Okay. And I saw you put in an hourly rate for the lights.
yeah, I mean, there's no clear, I wasn't able to have a clear answer of what we could charge. I mean, for the 3 years, this year including, it's never been a solid season. It's, you know, you're in a build the first year, so that year is all messed up. We had that significant power issue, you know, the second year. This past year was abbreviated. And even within that use, facilities sent me the national grid bills of what we were using. And because of the Main Street construction, those meters were shut down. So they were more estimates, they weren't actuals. So like, we don't have an actual number to base things off of. So it's really, it's kind of a feeling at this point. I mean, judging year by year with doing the math, it came out between, like, I think 6 was the lowest an hour and 15 was around the highest. So that's why I put in a proposed 10, just because it's in between. So
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense to me. So, will that then apply to the baseball diamond as well?
yeah.
The lights across the board?
So for Mooney,
Yeah.
yeah, might as well. I mean, and I did the math too. So like, if we charge $10 an hour to soccer for this past season, based on the hours that were recorded, it would cover the electrical cost of what was of the watts that were put out. So that's what made me kind of stick with that 10 as well. It would actually cover that cost of what we needed. So when that transfer comes out at the end of the year, it's not dipping into the actual fees for the use of the grass.
Right. Okay.
And are we okay with the end of season bulk payment? Do we want
Administratively,
quarters?
administratively easiest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Then did you have a question for us, Tim, on the tennis courts fees? It looked like you might have.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was any reasoning behind the resident lesson only $10, why we were limiting it to only residents. I didn't know if that was something when it was built, if that was an agreement. or what that's going to be, because we're putting lights out there. So my guess is we're going to have a little more attention and a little more need and want to be using that. Also, I've never gotten a request for it, so I just didn't know. It always seemed a little off to me, of $10 an hour for a lesson. So where we could have 5 kids who want to rent a field and we're charging $65 at the same time. So I didn't know if there was any historical reason for that you were able to share.
I don't have any history. I don't know if it does.
No, before my time, but actually that actually makes me realize I don't even know. Do people book tennis courts, or is it just first come, first serve?
We had one, admittedly, I lied. I'm sorry, I'm on camera. I lied. We had one. So, and they did it and we used that rate. They wanted 3 Tuesdays, so we charged them $30. So,
Okay. I think the
I-
only thing we wanted to prevent happening, and I vaguely recall, is like we don't want like non-residents coming in and teaching classes off of courts.
Which definitely happens.
Right. But I don't think putting a rate in here is really going to deter that. It's a different challenge.
yeah. I mean, do we want to at least cover our bases and put a non-resident rate in?
I think that might be better. Yeah.
I think it would be appropriate.
Okay.
It's gonna be interesting when it gets warmer to see, and with the lights, the demand go up for those courts. And
Hopefully.
the whole first come, first serve thing is gonna get interesting. Like, I wonder if we're gonna have to implement more rules.
Yeah, or get a staff member down there, part-timer or something.
Well, I mean, couldn't you, I was talking to my boss, lives over in Acton, and they've got a pickleball court, and they have a whole registration, you book your hour system, because it's insane, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, if it gets to that point, if we're seeing that demand, that's definitely something we could do. We have that in Millis in my hometown. I'm on the commission here, of course, because why not? And we have we got 6 new pickleball courts, and they're just swarmed, and that's what it is. They sign up for blocks, and they get out there, and they do it. And it's a great moneymaker. I mean, it's profit pretty much,
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I mean, that's something we can implement, I think, if it gets to it. I would hate to be like, here's these lights, now you got to pay. You got to reserve your spot type thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'm just trying to picture the dynamic of you on a recreation commission with another director.
I'm the chair too. So I'm at town meeting in Millis and everything. I'm doing my thing. So.
I think that means we don't have you busy enough, Jim.
Ask my wife, she'll tell you differently.
Just as a heads up, I have the other call in 7 minutes.
Yep.
All right. So I don't think I saw any other like real changes to those files.
I mean, a lot of it was cleaning up. I mean, when it came to the lighting policies, that's mainly grabbed straight from ZBA.
Yep.
The one question I had, there's a statement that was kind of across the board on everything, that the rec department, police department have existing policies to deal with issues. Is that the truth? Or is that, do you know, is that's just a tactic type thing? I'm just curious if
It
those
sounds
are
like
actually,
it honestly sounds like a shortcut.
okay.
That's what it, like, for example, no alcohol permitted on the tennis courts. Like, you actually have to say that, or is there like a superseding town policy that, you don't have to repeat it?
Gotcha. Okay, I just didn't know. I was just curious. I was like, I wonder if it's actually written out somewhere in case there's an issue. I'm just thinking because of lights now that there may be shenanigans. Okay, the custodial rate. I see is under the other column when it comes to the gym usages.
Mhm.
Additional custodial fee and a 3-hour minimum to additional to per person rate. Is that something that should be added on top of it? I mean, is that something that you all built into that 55 an hour? Like, should I be charging 55 an hour plus an additional hourly rate every single weekend?
Well, the custodial 3-hour, that's expensive, isn't it?
It's
Like, this is like
extremely
basketball.
expensive.
But
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
but that's the school. That's because the guys are union and that's what we get.
Right, but I guess, does the school bill you, Tim, or they pass it through directly to the, okay.
No, they bill me.
So do we want to call, I think we call it that, that's like a pass through. We just pass it through directly to the organization.
Yeah, that's how I understood it was working. I thought you pay your rate, and then if it happens to be on a day that requires that, it's because that's just the weekends, right?
Correct.
Or a day that the school's not open, yeah.
Okay. So I'll just put wording in that that's how that will function.
Yep.
User. Your Recreation Commission Code of Conduct, are we still sticking by that one? Do we still want to include that? I just didn't know if that's something you all were involved in creating. If that's something you still want to.
I don't know whether that would be in a field policy. No.
It's called out multiple times throughout each that, you know, part of the regulation is that you need to adhere to the code of conduct.
Yeah, I was.
Happy to get rid of it, less paper. I just didn't know if it was something you all were still standing behind.
It seems like we're kind of crossing a line with, like, so Southbury Youth Soccer has their own code of conduct.
Exactly.
I would
Yeah.
expect.
That was my next point. Yeah,
So we're not going to police this. It's not like we're there.
exactly. Well, that's
And-
your role as a commission member, Kristen, when you're at practices.
I live
Hammer.
right near Mooney. I'll just stroll over there. I mean, I think this is taking on a responsibility that we can't monitor.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a preachy little 2 pages of text. But yet we
I agree.
approved, adopted it. Go figure. But
I'm fine with dropping that as well.
Yeah, no objection.
All right.
Okay.
And
So then, was there anything else?
I'm just looking through 9/11 quick, just to
Okay.
make sure. 2E.
Jen, while he's looking for that, could you put me down as an affirmative vote on that first?
Gotcha, for the meeting minutes?
Yeah.
All right, awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I really had on 9/11, there's a highlighted piece about defining available time for reschedules. And it kind of goes back to what we said before. It's based on the preference list. As I read it, it's kind of a confusing thing in my
Okay,
eyes. I just didn't know if we wanted to keep that in or if you guys wanted to clarify. Available time based on section 2E will either, Kristen, if you have to go, you can go. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay.
7:30. So.
What, Jen, what else is on the agenda, just out of curiosity?
just getting approval on this, and then we need to, I was hoping we could schedule meetings for a recurring time period going forward, so.
I mean, right
And I
now,
don't even need approval on this. I mean, I would like to go back, make these changes, and then I can send them to you again. You know,
Okay.
we have a couple months until this will go live and be needed, so we don't need a vote on this.
Okay.
If that makes
That
for
works.
leaving easier.
Okay. Then while Tim's just checking that over, then to schedule our meetings, do we want to do it like the first Tuesday of the month
Sure.
and try to make this a little bit easier on scheduling for us?
Sold.
Okay.
The only
so
thing to say is, what is the selectmen's cadence?
They're wait a second. Sorry. I think I
For
want
every two.
I want to
they-
do the second Tuesday. They're the first and third. So if we do the second, we'll be in between them.
Okay.
Sounds
Second-
good.
Okay. Cool.
All right, I'm gonna jump you guys to go see the kids really quick before the next one. So,
All right.
hey, if I don't talk to you guys, happy holidays.
Yes, same
Happy
to you.
holidays.
Happy New Year, yeah.
Absolutely.
Good luck with the snow.
Oh, yeah, you too, everybody. All right, I'm out. Talk to you later.
Okay. So then was there anything else then, Tim? Or
No, I mean, it was just that call out on that 9/11 app under, where are we? User contributions, 1, 2, cancellation and reallocation of scheduled use. It says the available time based on section 2E will either A, an affiliated or non-affiliated organization, or B, thereafter in the order received based upon the date and time information printed or faxed or emailed. Didn't make sense to me. So
I think, and was this for the rescheduling? I'm trying to
I
find
think
it.
so, and that's why I was kind of asking, because it reads very odd to me, and
Yeah.
I don't understand what it's really saying.
I'm fine with you rewording it to say that, like, so if it's really a reschedule, it's based on availability and the discretion of the recreation director.
Yeah, sounds good.
Because at that point, it becomes a little bit of a game to figure out how to fit them in and where it will work. And yeah.
Do we want to keep all these definitions in on it? I mean, I would assume some iteration of the board, probably when Joe was on it, put a lot of work into it, so I'd hate to scratch it, but I don't know if it's necessary. I'm just trying to cut down on the amount of
Yeah,
paperwork that comes in.
the only thing I wonder is because this is DCR property, if some of that might be
Oh,
cut
okay.
with them, you know? Because
That's a good point.
I believe once we make changes to this, I think we're supposed to share it back to them as part of our lease permitting, but I'm not positive.
I can look into that.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
And I think that's why this one's written a lot different than the other one.
And so outdated.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I'll take another swipe and I'll update, and then I'll resend, and then I guess at our next meeting we could try to take a vote, and then I can post them updated online for the groups to use for the upcoming season.
Sounds good.
I'm glad to get that done. Cool. All right.
All right. Then does anyone else have anything else?
Nope.
Otherwise, we're good. Somebody motion to adjourn at 7:33 p.m.
Second.
Dumont, yes.
Hanson, yes.
Yes. Nixon, yes.
All right. We'll see you
All right,
guys.
Thanks,
Second.
everyone.
Everybody stay well, enjoy the snow.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. Be safe.
Thank you.